Let's talk today about your ego. There are a lot of gurus around, a lot of people on social media that really try to promote the idea of destroying your ego, conquering your ego, using language like that, like one part of you has to be lost in order for another part to win. The winning in this case is gaining enlightenment. I don't believe that we do need to conquer or destroy our ego. I think what we need to do instead is to recognize that the aspects of our ego that are the ones that need some special attention, shall we say, are aspects of your unhealed ego. I think it's very important for us to have an ego. I think that that's the very reason that we have one is because it is important. If we didn't have an ego, then we would very likely be able to really feel, understand, be aware, and accept the connection that is between all of us. And that means that we probably wouldn't have a lot of suffering. And without suffering, we wouldn't know a lot of joy and happiness. And so I think that having an ego is important and exactly why we do have one. But when we have an unhealed ego, that's when we can really get in our own way. Because some of the symptoms of an unhealed ego, some signs that you might resonate with if this is you, or maybe somebody that you know and love, people who are unable to ask for help. This is a classic sign of an unhealed ego. When we need to control or judge others, including when we try to control and judge ourselves as well. So, this usually looks like we try to control other people and how they're going to react to things and what they're going to do and say and all of that instead of really understanding that the only thing that we have control over is ourselves. We control how we think, how we act and react, how we choose to perceive things. And when we have an unhealed ego, we tend to try to put that onus on other people. Other people are responsible for our happiness. Other people are responsible for our lives being great and spectacular or being dreadful and terrible. And we try to then subsequently control those people. Or if we can't control, then we heavily judge. Another classic sign of an unhealed ego is the need to have more. Now, we live in a materialistic society. There's no getting around that. So, I don't mean to imply that it's a bad thing to actually want to have nice things, because I really don't believe that that is the case. Instead, I actually believe that that's one of the reasons that we are here is to enjoy, to fill ourselves with abundance, to create, to think about what it is that we want and then poof, create it for ourselves. And unfortunately, when we have an unhealed ego, we are still doing that. What we are creating for ourselves is not abundance, it's lack. We're creating drama. If we are creating an abundance of anything, it's abundance of despair, of struggle, of pain, of a sense of powerlessness. And these are all lack things, right? And instead, we're really meant when our ego is healthy, we're able to work with ourselves and actually manifest and create beautiful and wonderful things. So it's not that I believe that we need to live a life where we, don't have any riches, we don't have any objects, any things of our desire. I actually think that we can have all of the things that we want, and that's part of the point of us being here. But rather, when your ego is unhealed, it's more of a need to have more, that you're not able always to easily be grateful for what it is that you have. And you also struggle with realizing that you are the one that is creating what it is that you have. Right. So, not taking the time to celebrate when you have brought something into your life that you really wanted, but also not taking the opportunity to realize that something that maybe you don't want is also there because you have created it. So it's always looking for, answers in the exterior rather than looking within and seeing our own power. We also, when we have an unhealed ego, we also really struggle with the idea of being wrong. We really need to be right. Now, there is part of us, our unconscious mind, that really doesn't understand the concept of being wrong. So, again, this is kind of similar as with the last point. It's not that I believe that we shouldn't have that trait at all, but it's just we've all known somebody like this, and this might be you watching this, where they really are unable to take responsibility for their own life, for their own actions, their own reactions. And again, everything is on the external. Everything needs to be blamed on somebody else or looking for somebody else to, fix something, make things better, prove that you're worthy, whatever that may be. And so when they have a belief or when they say something or do something and they really believe that they are correct and it did, what they've done is right, no matter what it looks like on the exterior, that they were in the right, it was justified to have that behavior. Those are the people that you will never be able to say anything to that will make them go, well, wait a second. Okay, let me just open my mind to the possibility that I'm looking at this in a different way than somebody else. And perhaps there is no right or wrong, but just different. And now I'm going to try to look at this same experience through somebody else's eyes and see the difference. Somebody with a healed ego is able to do that. And in fact, spends a great deal of their life doing that. Somebody with an unhealed ego really just very much struggles with the ability to do that. I'm hoping that if you are somebody that is resonating with having an unhealed ego, I'm hoping that you can see in this video some of the benefits of doing the work to heal your ego. You don't need to overcome your ego, you don't need to conquer it and destroy it. It is part of you, and it's a deserving part to be celebrated and accepted. But when we recognize the signs of imbalance, when we recognize that perhaps the trauma or the experiences that we have had that has caused some unhealing to go on within that ego, perhaps it is impacting our lives, impacting the way that we view our lives, impacting the way that we react and act within our lives. And perhaps that's not all good. And perhaps if we really are honest with ourselves, we want to stop. We want to stop this battle that we've got going on, battling with ourselves, battling with everyone else, all the drama that is created. And we want to be able to heal. We want to be able to love and accept ourselves fully. And to me, that means accepting that unhealed ego right where you are right now and making the decision to give it the healing and the love that it deserves, that you deserve. If that interests you, then stick around. Make sure that you like, follow all of my work because this is the type of work that I talk about a lot. Thank you so much.